Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Ayo Shopitan on the line, and he's CEO of Metalex Commodities, and this episode is part of our Middle East and Africa Summit coverage series where we bring you the best of those who attended and participated in the Milken Institute's conference in Abu Dhabi. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I understand you were out there at the summit. Talk to me. How did it go for you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was a great event. Did turn out, but manageable crowd. So some of these events can get overwhelming, but I think at the Middle East Africa Summit by Milken was good crowds, but not overwhelming, and then high quality people as well. So
yeah. Now, are you located out there? Did you come from the U.S. or where are you located?
Yes. So operationally, we're based in Zambia. We are a Delaware corporation that operates in Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. So as it happened, I was off a rotation in Houston, so I came from Houston to Abu Dhabi for that event.
Wonderful. Yeah. And so what took you? What were you looking at? And the reason I asked this question, by the way, is because there's other stakeholders and individuals that are interested in these regions, but maybe they don't always know where to go. I'm just curious, what was your initial impetus of I need to be there?
Yeah, so I was a panel speaker at the event. So I participated in the critical minerals panel with a few other folks from the industry. I was invited by the chair of Africa at Milken, British Robinson. And so attended a few roundtables as well. But in general, the attraction kind of to the Middle East is just a good source of capital, a good source of strategic partnerships, and a potential destination for some of the stuff that we produce as well.
Yeah. Let's go a little bit, speaking of that, let's go a little bit more into Metalex Commodities. Maybe start by telling me a little bit about the organization.
Yeah, of course. So we are a metals and mining company that's operationally based in Zambia. So our flagship project in northwestern Zambia, the copper cobalt project, where we're looking to produce carbon neutral critical minerals. And what that means is basically first attempting to decarbonize our supply chain, and then where we can't, engage in activities that help generate offsets so we can at least offset what we're not able to decarbonize, right? So we've been at it for many years, and we are building a processing facility right now that is almost completed that will help us put copper concentrates and copper precipitate with cobalt content into the market. So I'll pause there for now, and then I'll let you follow up if you have any follow-up questions.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into this business? Curious.
Yeah, so I spent about 12 years of my career with a number of companies around commodity trading and risk management. So basically the paper trading side of the commodities business. So basically futures, options, and swaps as a mechanism to manage market risk. Spent a lot of time doing that in New York and later on in London with clients kind of scattered all over the world. Eventually started looking at the metals space, and that took me to Switzerland quite a bit because that's where all the big trading houses were located. And after a few years of doing that, I identified what I thought was an opportunity to initially start a trading business, but then over time just naturally backward integrated into a vertically integrated business where we own the mine, own the processor, and do the trading ourselves.
Yeah. What about this, and circling back to Metalex, this concept of building sustainability into the business model overall, where'd that come from? So
that's from a personal background standpoint, but also because it generally just makes sense to build sustainability into your business model. So the old ways of doing things, kind of the zero sum, the host community losing and the companies winning, I think is out of fashion. So basically decided very early in the business that we were going to be additional to the communities where we work. And some of that comes from the fact that I was born and raised in Nigeria, where some of the communities that produce or where the oil comes from in Nigeria. They also happen to be the poorest because they've gone through lots of loss in terms of agricultural land and waterways and things like that. So when I got into the resource business, I said, well, I literally did stakeholder mapping to identify all the stakeholders and then had two columns like win and loss, right? And then the question was, how do we make sure that all the different stakeholders, so the community, the environment, the government, and so on and so forth, how do we make sure that we get them the checkbox in the win column? So that's how we ended up with our business model that kind of built sustainability into it.
That's awesome. I love it. I think it's a great story, and I think it's interesting to see how rethinking the way that things are done, right? And like it doesn't always have to be the way that it was done. It doesn't have to be how it's done going forward, right? Like I don't think we do that often enough.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we went over at the panel that I participated in Abu Dhabi was the certain countries, when they go into resource-rich regions, they kind of look the other way. So when there's like environmental issues, they don't really take it seriously and so on and so forth. But we've seen that's not a sustainable way of doing business. And I don't mean sustainable in terms of like the environment per se, but more in terms of when the community doesn't trust the company, eventually things break down, right? So it makes sense to a model that ensures that the community participates in not only just the job creation impact of the economic activity that's being engaged in by the companies, but also in the wealth creation impact. And that's what we're trying to do.
That's great. Well, Ayo, this has been great having you on the show today and getting to know a little bit more about this. Final question on my end, in your industry, a lot of geopolitical factors and considerations. How do you navigate all of that?
Yeah, so we are an American company, so it was easy because basically we felt like we had to pick sides. It was easy to pick sides because I'm American, the company is an American company, our shareholding base American, so we took the easy way out and chose the sides that we belong to. But more generally speaking, I think it's also just ensuring that we think in a way that's not necessarily zero sum, right? We look at opportunities to collaborate, for example, which was part of why I was in Abu Dhabi.
Amazing. Ayo, if somebody wants to follow up, they want to learn more about Metalex Commodities, how do they do that?
So the best way is to follow us on LinkedIn. So our page is Metalex. It's under Metalex Commodities. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Ayo, AYOSOPITAS. And our company website is metalex.africa as well.
Perfect. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Ayo, thanks again so much for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate it.